Hey, I'm Brian. Welcome. I'm Jane Austen, and I love Hallmark Jane Austen movies.
I'm not doing it.
Hey, I'm Brian. Not Jane Austen. I'm doing Brian doing Jane Austen. I like Hallmark Jane Austen movies.
I'm Dan.
Nope, do it.
I'm
do
not.
Dan.
Nope,
Dan, do it.
I'm not.
Do it.
I'm not.
Dan, do
I'm
it.
not in the mood today.
Dan, do it.
No,
do it.
I'm Dan.
Yeah.
I'm Brian doing a British accent. And
Jane Austen.
I despise Jane Austen movies.
And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast. Deck the Hallmark. It's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Actually, this is hard for me. Wow. Hello.
Just crazy that Brian hated not wearing these hats so much that he stayed at home to not have to wear them.
I had a feeling this was going to happen.
He literally was like, we're doing another Jane Austen movie. I'm not wearing the hats.
Well, the thing is he literally just climbed out of the hat. So to jump back in it.
The chiropractor bill from wearing that hat is just through the roof. You were just
You guys can't keep doing this.
No,
to me.
you can't. You can't. That's right. So you just had to take a week and stay at home, right?
Yeah. I got a back brace on. I'm just getting everything
Where
right.
are you right now?
Well, like in a 4-season porch area in the back of the house.
A
Some bright
4-season porch. So there's no climate control in there?
There are a couple of vents, but you can't control them for this room.
They just
kind
put
of
them
get
in to
whatever's
laugh
left
at you.
over.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Be honest, Brian. Did you put that single picture on the wall just for this?
There was a different picture there, and I said, I'm going to change it out real quick. You know what that is? That's Nollins, baby. That's a photo from Nollins.
Clearly a big part of your life with that 8x12 up there.
Brian's actually auditioning for the
Were they out of wallet sizes?
Brian's actually auditioning for the Tuesday to Friday hosting gig at the Daily Show. Go ahead and give us that tight 5 on voting and stuff.
Oh, right. Okay, get your bleep button ready.
All right, make them big, Aaron. This is going to be good. People on Philo are going to need to see it.
I can almost see. Is that a nativity? No, it's Nollins.
Yeah, Nollins out in the streets there, Nollins. So when I was out there at the booth the other day, get this, had my hat real low, like so.
Is he doing spoken word? What is it that you're doing?
I'm ramping up. I'm ramping up to it. Yeah. And so I says to the guy, get this. He just wasn't paying attention. He's walking on by, and so I go, hey, man, who are you voting for? I got what's that? Getting in my ear. I think that was all. That's all my time. That's all the time I have.
That is the most panda thing you've ever done.
That's
ever,
and I loved every second of it.
Apparently, it's like also like the Roaring 20s version of the Daily Show. I says to the guy,
he says,
"What are you doing over there?" I loved it. Great work.
We miss you here, but the fact that you wouldn't wear your hat that we did send home.
We said that's a no play.
Little much.
No play.
Much. The sick kid, fine. No hat. Get out of here.
How about the Super Bowl? How about everything I said was going to happen? How about that?
I said on the pod to take the Chiefs and the under of Christian McCaffrey rushing yards, and I would have been right. I was right on both of those. Had I bet it, I would have been right. I didn't bet it, unfortunately.
And if you would have bet on all the things that I told you to bet on, you would have also
lost a lot of money. Yes.
No, I made one. I said the Chiefs were going to win.
That Kelsey's going to quit and Taylor's going to propose on the field.
Yeah, you did.
Go ahead, Aaron. What?
I was just very excited for a proposal, and it never happened.
Aaron refused to leave my house until everyone's filing out, and she's like, "No, there's a chance. There's a chance."
Yeah. Finally, at like 2 a.m., Brandon was like, "You have to go.
You gotta go, buddy.
It's not happening."
I came back downstairs, and she's still sitting in front of the TV.
Back out there afterwards, and she did propose, and nobody knows about it.
Yeah, what if it was at 2:30, and you made me leave at 2?
Oh, boy.
It's tough being right all the time. It's tough being right all the time. You know what I mean?
But Travis didn't retire, so you're...
Not that we know of.
He says he plans to play next year. I don't think that's a hard anything. I don't think he has no contract with any team.
That's exactly.
Year.
Listen,
so,
going out and saying
I plan to play.
Retiring after you lose in the playoffs like his brother did is way different than retiring immediately after winning the second straight Super Bowl. You got to take your time on that.
Yes.
You gotta weigh your options, and I guarantee you, if his brother comes over and he's like, "Hey, dude, we got a great opportunity at Philo to do a show or something like that," which we should actually talk to our friends at Philo and be like, "Hey, have you thought about this?" Then I think it would be a good idea personally, but that's just me. Speaking of good ideas, let's talk about Love and Jane, the second of the Love You Wary Jane Austen edition movies. Originally aired, this is Love and Jane, originally aired on February 10th, 2024, and it went a little something like this. We get a very long intro fondling the works of Jane Austen, just looking at every book, all the covers and the sides. We meet Lily, who realizes she's running late to the Jane Society meeting that she heads up. She's running late, and she realizes that she, in her hurry, she forgot her book. And so she runs into the bookstore close by, bumps into a dude named Trevor. It does not go well. He says, "Sorry, that book is accounted for from somebody online."
Oh, these people with their websites and their email accounts and their Google addresses.
I know it.
And their ISBNs.
Yep.
And their typical bow ties.
And their tiddlywinks.
Their frayed jeans. And their waffle makers. And their Eggo waffles that don't need a maker.
That's exactly right.
Their Hot Pockets. Their Nintendo Power
Their
Gloves.
pastrami.
Who are you describing? You've described...
And their Sonic and Knuckles. And their
Knuckles is getting his own show.
And their road maps. Yeah, he is. My kids are going to be super excited. Yeah.
Little series.
Yeah.
Anywho, exactly what Dan said. The meeting of the Jane Society goes well, but she finds out that the bar that they've been meeting at is getting ready to close down, and so where are they possibly going to meet? Could it be maybe the bookstore next door? I don't know. Let's find out. She goes to meet her boyfriend, Martin. We'll call him Marty. Who just does not like old-fashioned things. And that's tough because that's basically Lily's whole deal is old-fashioned things. And so when he proposes to her, not on his knee, by the way, because that's old-fashioned.
Of course. Not to drink.
She's like, "I don't need this. I got goals." And he's like, "All right, well, you haven't even published a book yet." And she's like, "It's called a goal." And so she leaves. Okay. The next day, she wakes up to what's happening? I love Jane. Thank you.
Yep. Philo.tv/DTH.
That's good.
It's the good stuff there.
It's important.
I feel like I'm living a lie.
Yeah, the hat wasn't it.
Yeah, the hat is. I would wear this. Anyway, she breaks up with Marty. The next day, she wakes up to a woman looking over her as she sleeps. It's Jane Austen. And she's like, "I guess I must be going crazy." So she runs to work. She works at an ad agency, and they have a meeting with per the synopsis, a tech billionaire. His name is Trevor. He's the guy who also owns the bookstore. He runs a very successful app, but what he's trying to figure out is, how do I really make this bookstore pop? And is there any way for me to use the bookstore to drive people to the app?
If I only had like $1 billion.
Yeah, there's only way. So the ad agency is like, "All right, we'll think through this." Specifically Lily. Lily's going to give this some thought. So like Jane Austen keeps showing up, kind of like giving her advice and telling her, "Hey, you should finish your book." Being a real Marty, am I right? And also being like, "Hey, is that your suitor over there?" Talking about Trev. And
Gentleman caller.
Gentleman caller. Gentleman caller, you're on the line.
Hello.
Hey, gentleman caller, how are you?
I've been calling everybody in the neighborhood to ask them a series of questions.
Go ahead.
Do you have time to yield to a series of questions?
We'll see what the first one holds. Go ahead.
What kind of car do you drive?
A Nissan Leaf.
Likely story.
All right. Thank you, gentleman caller. Love
I have
you.
Several more questions.
I know. We'll get
for
back to you throughout the show, I'm sure.
you. Is your refrigerator running?
Yes.
Oh,
Tell me.
What
do I gotta do?
You had better get after
You
it.
done it.
I better get after it. And so she's like, maybe he is my gentleman caller. I don't know. So obviously they started hanging out. She starts giving some thoughts on like, hey, what if the bookstore stayed bookstore with real books, all that stuff. And he's like, I don't know, digital hubs and stuff. And so she finally does a formal pitch on a bookstore and how it should continue to sell real books. Then she finishes her book, and she is on the cusp of publishing it. And the company that is the most interested just got bought out. And who do you think just bought it? The tech billionaire. And she goes to him and she's like, hey, is the only reason why you bought that publishing company is because you want to publish my book because you're my gentleman caller?
Hello.
Hey, gentleman caller, how are you? You got another one?
I've got so many.
Give me one.
Hey, what are you wearing?
Green, like the Hallmark shirt, some jeans.
Likely story.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Your hat is too small.
Okay. You're watching on Philo.
You bet it.
Wonderful.
You have Prince Albert in a can.
What?
It's a joke. It's a prank call from a long time.
Okay. What's the punchline?
You better let him out.
Oh. I love the gentleman caller. He's good.
Jim Beam in the bottle.
Yes.
You'd better let him out as well.
What about my water?
Oh, do you have Aquafina in the water?
You could have just done Aquafina. She's
no. The Fina family insists.
Okay. Yes, I do.
You better let her out.
Anyway, he's like, yeah, basically that's what I did. So she's a little bit mad, and so they start having the Jane Society meetings at the bookstore, and she's like, I'm leaving, I'm giving all this up, and I'm moving. And all of her friends are like, no, you're not gonna leave. And then, boom, Trevor walks in, and he's like, hey, I want to be your gentleman caller. And she's like,
hello?
Okay. Yes?
You said gentleman caller?
I did. Do you have another one for me?
Ring, ring, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Dwayne.
Dwayne who? Dwayne who, gentleman caller? Gentlemen!
Dwayne the bathtub, I'm drowning.
And they kiss. And that, my friends, was Love and Jane.
Love and Jane.
Oh, we did it.
How about that?
Oh, man.
That synopsis was clear as crystal.
I don't know what more you could want out of a synopsis.
We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
We're going to come back. We're going to break this movie down with 4 segments here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Love and Jane, the second of the Jane Austen Love-uary flicks.
Second already, huh?
Second already.
Oh, flying
halfway
by.
There. We're living on a prayer. Let's start with the hot take. It is where we share exactly how we felt about this movie. We do not hold back, and I will start with the person who hated this movie so much he did not come into work today. Brian, what did you think about Love and Jane?
I feel like it's all going to be downhill from here. I thought this was decent. I don't think I despised it as much as you guys. Office for this one. I really wish you weren't made it in. I thought this had some funny moments. Jane's commentary was really funny. I feel like that saved this movie. That was the shining light in this movie, was that commentary from Jane, the things that she didn't understand about, the new cultural stuff and technology and whatnot. It was a little weird how Ben and Alison Sweeney's character and Trevor didn't seem to like go on a date or do like they talked and they hung out a little bit. They ran into each other a bunch, but they didn't really date or do stuff. All of a sudden, we're boyfriend girlfriend. And I was sort of just like, oh, okay, I guess they're there now. And so I guess we just call.
Hey Brian, I'm going to cut you short right there, buddy.
Maybe cut you off real quick, Brian.
Maybe by all the feels, your internet will be better. But as of right now, you're tougher to listen to than you normally are. So I'm going to go.
Oh my gosh!
I kid. I love you. I like this movie more than last week's movies. That's all. Dan,
you liked it more than the Will Kemp one.
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am. Not by a lot.
Why?
I don't know. Less.
It felt like we were closer to being done.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like okay, per capita when it comes to, listen, one of my critiques last week was that I just don't like the garbs and it automatically turns me off. It takes a while for Jane Austen to get introduced into this movie. And per capita of the film, she's on it less than Will Kemp was with his garb. And so, therefore,
you're really
I like
proud
this
of per
movie.
capita right now.
Yeah, I mean, I listen, when you worked as hard as I did at Harvard, you tend to use words correctly. So, yeah, I like this one more. And
that's purely on wardrobe.
Almost entirely, yes.
Okay. Brian, did you like this one more than the Will Kemp one?
No.
Yeah. I think it is at least marginally worse in literally every way. The two leads I thought had more chemistry in the last one than this one. I know Allison Sweeney and Ben Ayers have been in a bunch of movies together, mystery ones primarily. They didn't have
I'm actually getting a word Ben Ayers has never been better.
Really? Is that from Brian? Okay.
Brian, that's what Brian said.
I will say this. Ben Ayers, it's hard to explain if you've never met this guy, but I swear to you, I'm not joking. He looks even better in person than he does on film.
It's unfair.
I don't know how it's possible. I don't know what happens.
Because he looks amazing in this movie.
He looks amazing in this movie. He looks better in person, which is like everyone else is like, when they're on TV, they got the makeup and they got everything, and it looks like they're the best. They're the best they could possibly look. And then when you meet them in person, you're like, oh, they look more like a normal human being.
You actually
have your better in person.
You have your top 10 ugliest Hall stars in real life list ready to go.
I do, right? Locked and loaded here. Number 1, Christopher Polite.
Wow.
No, that guy. Are you kidding me? All I'm saying is this: I didn't feel like the leads had any chemistry. I felt like this movie had no place to go and all day to get there. This guy is an actual billionaire, making billionaires look like way better people than they typically or always are. Could have fixed a lot of the country's hunger and housing problem, and he's worried about scrapping to keep a bookstore alive.
Do they say in this movie if he's a billionaire, or was that only in the synopsis from the previous show? Brian?
I don't know.
They mentioned money. I don't remember if they.
Well, moved to a better location. Congratulations.
What were we gonna say?
I don't think they mentioned the movie because at one point Brian did yell out, "Remember, he's a billionaire," and it was from the synopsis.
Yeah, the billionaire part of it was tough.
He might not be.
It felt like a very old Hallmark plot line of like, I was proposed to and hated this dude and left him and feel like I'll never find love or career or blah, blah, blah. And then Ayers shows up and then, there's not really a story. There's not really much of a conflict, hardly aside from he bought the company that's going to publish your book. But even like what we're trying to get by the end of this, aside from these two crazy kids together, there's just nothing there. It lives and dies on their one ace in the hole, which is she sees Ghost Jane Austen. And it is the most underused gambit I've seen in Hallmark in a long time. That should have been like a major part of the movie for her to start talking to Jane and people think she's crazy. All the stuff that goes along with seeing a ghost that we see in these movies. They did not do that. 3 bed, 2 bath, 1 ghost did it way better than they do it in this movie. There's no one to root for. It just doesn't matter. And I hated it. I really, really, really hated it. And I'm hopeful that the next two are better. But Paging Mr. Darcy is definitely a step or two or three up from this movie.
You know what someone pointed out on social media was that they never once paged him last week. Never once in the hotel where
Not
they're
a
like,
single page.
Paging Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy, if you come in front of Yep.
It's time for all the feels. I'm still working on fleshing that one out.
When we write the sequel to our book, our super successful book, I'll Be Home for Christmas Movies, Brand's hot take will be, I liked it better than Paging Mr. Darcy. And that's going to set the whole book on fire. It's a crazy take.
I don't think it's that crazy.
All right.
I don't think it's that crazy. I didn't like the garbs, and
Will Gibson breaches, and you're like, I can't stand this movie.
yeah, by and large. And I really, really like looking at Ben Ayers.
Yeah. No, listen. Can't blame you there.
Yeah. Well, and my feels, which we'll get to. It is time for all the feels. Brian, anything in this movie give you feels?
The part that did was when Ben was playing Mr. Darcy. That felt like something we would do, and it felt very familiar and funny. I like that.
Thank you, Brian. Better, but not great.
Brian, when you listen back to this, you're going to see why we are unaffected by your words.
We should have given him a skip, but
we should have given him a skip it.
Yeah,
we should have.
He
just
asked
let
for the
Aaron
skip
do the
it too.
thing.
We said
And
no. Mr. Wickham is a legend, a character we didn't get nearly enough of. Mustache alone brought this movie up. He was wonderful. I just have a dozen questions about him as a person. And you know what? I love seeing a success story. You know, somebody who's fought the good fight, had a bar, is going to sell it, maybe make some money. It's an American dream.
That's right. Other guy's a billionaire, could help him out. No problem.
Mr. Wickham's the American dream. Love that guy.
To sell his bar.
I love Mr. Wickham, and I want to see him in everything. Dan?
Yeah, there's a scene in Oppenheimer where they are. I'm just kidding. No,
You talking about Brink?
not gonna do it.
Talking about Brink?
No feels for me.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the wait what and the what the Hallmark
And
here on
Brian's broken up takes.
Deck the
Hallmark.
Arc. Hey, Linda. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to Deck the Hallmark. I'm working through.
Brian is in the Blair Witch Project. If you'll just excuse him real quick as he shakes that camera around.
Don't mind me.
It's time for Wait What, which we might say a couple times as Brian talks, depending on how much we can hear him.
Looks like he's gone to a more analog approach of microphone. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Sounds like the breathing
We'll see how
apparatus
this goes
works.
here.
I love this. Okay, we are. Go ahead, Brian.
All right. So my wait what's, if you're catching
Yeah,
what
so
I'm
far,
saying
so
So
good.
here,
much better.
is this goes right in line with what she was arguing. Lily's arguing for. I had on Bluetooth headphones. It was terrible. I've gone back to wired headphones. Backwards technology is much better. You don't need all this fancy
right
stuff.
here. This proves
She was
it.
right. Man, the bookstore looked like it. Well, it looked like the green room at Fox Carolina when Brand turned on the hairdryer. Like that place looked like it was on fire and it needed needed like a wellness check in the stacks. That place was so smoky the whole time. Like what the heck was going on? Lily says everything that's wrong with the world started with the first website.
Come on.
And it just like she went. Yeah,
You went too
she
hard.
went hard.
You went too
against
hard.
that-
You can't back that up.
Like she can't. You can't. It's not. It's just. It's just not true. She even used technology. She had her home assistant starting her music. She used a rideshare app. Like she used technology. You can't bash it and utilize it like that. Like it's just not. It's just such a lame thing. The tech entrepreneur Ben, he bought a bookstore to help gather data, metadata. That would help drive traffic, and just like it just was so bad. It's such a bad use of the technology angle of like needing to gather more intel, but need to do like boots on the ground to get that good intel. It's like you're not going to use tech to find out that readers like to read. Like you already know they like to read. Like you have an app that gives you more data than a bookstore is going to give you. It was just such a frustrating.
Brian wants to close all the bookstores and ban all the books unless you're reading them electronically. That's what I understood. Yeah. Yes.
That's it. Especially if they're on fire like that. It's just not safe. And so the bookstore also just looked really boring. Like it didn't look fun to be in. So that was a little, that's another reason to get rid of all the bookstores.
Yeah, of course.
Wow. That's a hot take.
That's it.
Just cut that right there.
Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Glad we fixed the mic for that.
I have a couple. One, at the Jane Society, there's a collection of people from all different walks of life, which is wonderful. And I absolutely believe that there are people from all walks of life that love the Jane Austen, including truckers. What I don't believe exists is a trucker hat that says I love Jane. I just don't think it quite exists. I think it should.
Trying to find the Jane Seymour fan group.
Yeah. I think it should exist. But I don't know. I'm just, I want it to. I'd wear it. No, I wouldn't.
I think the point of that character is exactly what you said.
Yeah, no, I love the character.
Jane Austen fans come in all shapes and sizes.
Right. I love Jane trucker hat is a notch too far.
It's just a weird way to show that.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons.
He got it custom made.
And that's how much he custom made, but it is still a trucker hat for a trucker hat.
Yes, he is
very on the nose.
He is a trucker.
If he's a hipster, like, that has beard flair and works and wears that hat, you're like, okay, he likes Jane Austen. But an actual trucker wearing the trucker hat and scheduling all of his road trips around the Jane Austen meeting where he shows up in the same outfit.
I love Jane Austen trucker hat. I can be wrong. It's on Zazzle. So somebody made that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's
Amazon. What is this? Oh, I love Jane Austen. Listen, I'm happy to be wrong. I want to live in a world.
It just says I love Jane.
Yeah. That could be anybody.
It could be any Jane.
Yeah.
It could be the one from the Maroon 5 album. It could be any of them.
The one with all the songs
about her. Yeah.
Wow.
But what I'm saying is my man shows up every meeting with the same outfit and hat on. Like I don't know. I don't know about that guy. That's all I'm saying.
To your point, Brian, about using a home assistant to play music, let's try it. Alexa, play exquisite music. Whatever just played, email me, because I don't think what will play is the music that played in this movie. I think it'll be some sort of exquisite dance music, like something that's dance.
I asked Spotify during the movie. I asked Google to play exquisite dance music on Spotify, which is the exact thing she says to play. It did not play anything in the ballpark of what was playing in this movie. Because they just
play a song that you would expect to hear in a Jane Austen movie.
That's right.
While they dance.
But Spotify played like some high techno stuff. Yes, absolutely.
Go Jane. Which would have been funny if they would have said play exquisite dance music and some sort of techno beat. Imagine the embodiment of Jane Austen hearing techno music for the first time.
Come on.
Just didn't do enough with that. Didn't do enough with it. Which is why I kind of kept forgetting that the Jane Austen part of this movie was a thing. Like every time she'd pop up, it'd be like, oh yeah, we're doing the thing. Because it wasn't enough about the thing that made it really stick out. That would have been a perfect opportunity to really have some fun with it, and it didn't quite happen. Just proving her point about technology with Jane Austen just constantly messing up with technology. You could have done something with that, but what can you do? Dan?
Yeah, two that you guys already said, but I want to touch on a little further. This bookstore, it is how can we try less to look and make a bookstore look like an active place where people want to be. We have several bookstores in our town. We have a great one in downtown Greenville, M. Judson's. They're wonderful. It is cozy. You can get a cup of coffee. You can get all kinds of fun drinks. There's a kids section. It's a fun inviting, cozy place to be in the middle of Main Street in downtown Greenville. This looks like they went into a warehouse and just were like, put up a few shelves and then pipe in the smoke. So you know people are smoking a pipe, and then we'll call it a bookstore that everyone wants to hang out at. This bookstore is such a bad bookstore that they can't host the Jane Austen Club there. They can't. This bookstore, which would be a natural place to host that event for free as part of getting people in the door, they can't host it there. They go across the street to the bar, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Like next door or
next door to the
yeah.
bar. And then the bar is going to close. And now Allison Sweeney is absolutely unraveling at the fact that she doesn't know where they're going to host the Jane Austen Club. I got 3 or 4 ideas, literally anywhere with a roof. There are so many places.
They do make the point, though. She says this was the only bar that doesn't have a bunch of Boston Celtic fans in it.
Yeah,
like
but
cheering.
it doesn't have to be a bar.
Yeah.
You can host that thing anywhere. I just none of them were actively like it was the reason they were there was because of the drinking. None of them were. I just the fact that they just couldn't have a place to host this because this one bar is closing down was crazy to me. Also, the Jane Austen ghost bit, and I said this a little bit my hot take, but you're 100% right. You forget that the bit of this movie is Jane Austen is a ghost helping prod our lead character when necessary. You should not forget that.
Yeah. There's no forgetting the ghost in three bed, 2 bath.
No way.
Ghost. No forgetting.
You should never forget that Jane Austen's ghost is a part of this movie. And I did regularly. And if she was on screen more, the movie would have been better for it. And that's unfortunate. They give her such a hard time about ordering a Tom Collins. And I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I would say the majority of bartenders working in any establishment that isn't a chain would know how to make a Tom Collins.
Do you have Tom Collins on bottle?
It's a mixed drink, so it's more than one thing. So I don't think you can get them pre-made.
Hey, do you have a Tom Collins?
Yeah, I do. I've got a bottle at home.
You should let him know.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
My gentleman caller would be proud.
Yeah, he would be. Yours would. He'd be okay. He'd be all right. Okay. I feel like it was a weird move to show that she's old fashioned. To your point, Brian, she hates the internet, but uses modern technology regularly. And then they want to establish that she's old fashioned by having her her fiance or almost fiance, her boyfriend, explain to the guy that a Tom Collins is a drink you just don't order anymore. Bring her this instead. It was so much of that scene was just absolutely absurd. Yeah, that's all I got.
Let's talk about what the Hallmark story. Wonder what could have been. Maybe have to give some clues or stuff. Brian.
Yeah, I'm wondering what else Trevor's acquiring here.
He has a busy couple weeks, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, he sure does. His app is called Faves, and it's just lists of things people like. And like the amount of things he can acquire is endless. Like you just pick the top 10 things and go buy them. Like what else is he buying? You know?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, and there's so many list apps. I don't like what are you doing right now?
Faves. Yeah, but is there a Faves app where you only make lists about your faves? I don't know. My biggest question is just kind of the point of the Jane Austen in this movie.
Correct. Yes.
Where'd she come from? Where'd she go? Jane Austen, I don't know. She appears, I kind of gives some like wisdom, and then it's like you've seen it through.
She walks and disappears in the woods like Bagger Vance.
And like I still don't fully understand that thing. And I think maybe if we would have done just the love story or just really emphasizing the more heavily on Jane Austen's ghost, then this movie would have been elevated even more for me. But like the fact that those two basically seem pretty like divorced plot devices, I was just kind of like, I don't really understand what's happening with Jane Austen in this movie. Dan?
At the end of this movie, they kiss, or right before they kiss, she's like, maybe he says this is when they would kiss, and then it says they would live happily ever after. I know that it is a cop-out to ask if this couple is still together, but one of these people hates technology and is a homebody that likes a routine and to read a book by a cozy fire. And the other one is a tech billionaire who probably travels the world acquiring companies.
Apparently only acquires local companies now.
It doesn't seem like the
local
lifestyles
Boston
of
companies.
these two people match up at all. And it doesn't seem like they would live happily ever after at all. So that would be my question.
We did, everybody.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Brian, you take the rest of the week off. Take the rest of the week off. And we're going to be back tomorrow with Deck the Lifetime Uncorked. Tall, dark, and dangerous.
Ooh, what a combo.
It's going to be great to have Patrick back. And then on Thursday, Jax is joining us to review an Up TV movie. Big fun week with some friends. Hopefully you'll join us for all of them. Until then, maybe we're the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.